Hello, everyone. I'm here to vent today. Before I go any further, let me just tell you some of you might start to think I seem a bit judgmental. I am. I admit that fully. I do not apologize for it. I am what I am. But anyway, yesterday I went to a couple local gun shops, want to see if I can find a deal on a nice used handgun. So, walk into probably the nicest gun shop in my area, great selection. And these two guys walk up to the counter. So they walk up to the counter, and the salesman asks what they were interested in. So the guy said he wanted a home defense gun, a pistol, a handgun. And he said, "Okay, what are you looking for?" Guy had no idea, none whatsoever. He said, "Okay, well, about how much were you thinking to spend?" And the guy responded, $400 to $500. He goes, "Well," he said, "there's a lot to choose from in that range." Well, this guy had absolutely no idea what he was doing. So first, I'm kind of thinking to myself, why would you spend that much money on something? Firearm aside, but why would you spend that much money on something and not do a little bit of homework first? I mean, in recent years, I've bought a snowblower, I bought a generator for my house, and all kinds of stuff, and I do a little research, so I know I'm getting something decent. But this guy did no research. So then he decides that he wants to purchase this gun that he saw. It was a nice gun. I forget the exact model, but it's a Canik. It has a 15 round capacity. It's smaller than the TP9 SF. But the name's escaping me right now. Anyway, it was a nice handgun. I've seen good reviews on it. Well, there's a problem. The problem is that for the past, I don't know, 10 months or so, the blue state that I live in, that's run by a bunch of tyrannical leftists, has gotten a 10-round mag limit passed with no grandfather clause. So, although he could have purchased this gun, he couldn't have left with the magazines. So, the person told him that what he could do is purchase the gun, and then when he came back with mag blocks, they could insert the mag blocks in the store, and then he could be on his way. So the guy had absolutely no clue that he couldn't have a gun that held more than 10 rounds. So strike one for this guy, because this has been all over the news. They've been trying to get this passed in my state for a few years, and they finally were successful last year. Every year they give some more of our rights away. So that was the first thing. Second of all, he says, "Oh, so you mean I can't take the gun home today?" And the salesman said to him, says, "Well, do you have a carry permit?" And the guy said, "No." He goes, "Well, then you can't take it home today. We have a 7-day waiting period." Again, another time, long time ago, where our rights were given away and we had to wait over a week to get something we legally and honestly paid for. He didn't know that. Then he says, "Well, I have a blue card." Well, where I live, a blue card means that you took like a 15-minute test on basic firearm safety, and you are then allowed to purchase a handgun. That's it. That's all. So you have to take a test to get a card to purchase a handgun. Then you have to, if you purchase it, wait a week and pick it up on the 8th day. So that's two things right there. And you can't take it home unless you get a permit where the government gives you permission to carry it, so you can't carry it. That's the third thing. And then the fourth thing is those magazines you bought, you can't actually take them with you unless you block them up. Oh, and by the way, the law where I live says that they have to be blocked to 10 rounds or less, and they have to be either epoxied or pinned into place. So there you go. And I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, this is why we have problems. Because these are bills. Every year, the draconian legislation that tries to get passed is just amazing. And it's all over the newspapers, and it's on the TV stations and the talk radio and on Facebook and stuff. And you get ignorant people who pay no attention to it. Now, obviously, they have at least some interest in firearms, because they thought enough of it to go to the store and then put down $400 or $500 of their money. And obviously, they've had it on the radar in their minds that, hey, maybe one day I'll get a firearm. But yet, they're so intellectually lazy that they don't keep track of what's going on in their community, in their state. And if this person does vote, which I got to tell you, I kind of hope they don't because they're, again, ignorant and lazy, they're not voting for the right people, possibly. And if they are voting for the right people, they don't know why they're voting for the right people. They're not doing anything to fight for our rights, to advocate for our rights, because they don't even know their rights are being taken away. Now, I use firearms as an example, but the same could be said for so many things. Besides our firearm rights, you look at taxation, you look at different policies, I mean, from all over the place, and bad economic decisions, and you get these people who are either just too lazy to just crack open like a newspaper or turn the TV on for a little while to focus on what's going on, or they just don't care and they just live in ignorant bliss. It's absolutely disgusting. Now, of course, this guy, as someone who's actually gone to the state capitol and protested, and I'm very careful about who I vote for, and I follow things closely. This really disgusts me, but I mean, I'm not saying this has to, take over your life and be your big thing, but at least follow the news, educate yourself. What does it take? Minutes per week just to kind of keep track of what's going on? But then you have these fools who don't know what's happening. Kind of reminds me about what was going on like during the lockdowns in 2020 when we saw big increases in the number of people who were purchasing firearms. And I got to tell you, I kind of laughed to myself when I saw these dimwits trying to buy firearms where I lived, thinking that they could just walk in with their credit card, buy a handgun, and walk out. Because they had been lied to for years by liberals telling them that it's easier to buy a firearm than it is to buy a book. Well, if I want to buy a book, I can walk into the bookstore, give them a few bucks, and walk out with it right away. Where I live, again, you want a handgun? Take a test. After you take the test, you get the blue card mailed to you. It takes a few weeks at least. Then you go to the store. Then you got to pay for it. Then you have a federal background check. Then you have to wait 7 full days. You can pick it up on day 8. When you take it home on day 8, it has to be locked in a container. Then you can take it home. And then legally, you can't take it out again unless you are going to a range or a gunsmith or some other similar kinds of thing. Because if you were to ever get stopped and, just taking a ride to Dunkin' Donuts, well, guess what? You're screwed. Because now you were carrying without a permit. You can't do that. And by the way, if you did go to the range earlier in the day and you decided, you know what, I want to stop at Walmart or Target or something to pick up something, guess what? Try explaining why you have your handgun at Walmart without a permit, aka your permission slip from the tyrants. Yeah. And, it's brought to us all by these lazy people who don't pay attention to what's going on and don't care about what's going on until it affects them. I feel a little bit better now. Thanks for being there. I'll talk to you guys later.